On to round 13. We're going to join with a standing back post single crochet in the 10th single crochet of any repeat. Okay, so these smaller bits are our single crochets, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's next to last. I'm going to join with a back post single crochet. Now, making back post stitches around single crochets isn't particularly easy because there's not really a post, so you tend to have to go under the top loops there, so it just tips those top loops forward. Okay, we're going to skip the next stitch, which is this last single crochet, and then in the next stitch we're going to make ruffle stitches basically. So we're going to make a front loop single crochet in that next stitch, and then around the post of the same stitch we're going to make a front post half double. I tend to fold my work back so that I can see that post quite clearly there, and we're now going to make 3 front post doubles. So there's 4 stitches all together going around the post of that same stitch that we made the front loop single in. Okay, so there's the front loop single, then we've got front post half double and 3 front post double crochets. Then we are going to skip this next stitch and front loop single in that next one, and that is our ruffle stitch made. And as you can see, it sits forward here, okay, and it's 3 stitches that it takes to make a ruffle stitch. When people come a little bit unstuck with this, it's because they tend to forget the extra front loop stitch that we need to close the ruffle. Okay, so again we go into the front loop of the next stitch with a front loop single crochet, and then around that same stitch we're going to front post half double and then 3 double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, then we are going to skip this next stitch here and we're going to front loop single in that next one. Okay, that gives us our ruffle stitch, so it's made over 3 stitches. Okay, so we've done 2 here. We need to make another 3 because there's going to be 5 altogether, and your last front loop single will fall in that last double crochet. Okay, so let me just zoom in a weeny bit more, okay, and I'll show you once more. Okay, front loop single crochet in that next stitch, and then around the post of the same stitch you're going to front post half double and then 3 doubles. 2 and 3. Then we're going to skip this next stitch and we're going to front loop single crochet in the next one. That's one ruffle stitch. Okay, let me just quickly whiz through the next two. I'll just zoom out a weeny bit, otherwise it's too close. There we go. Okay, so front loop single, and then around the post, half double, 1, 2, 3 doubles, skip a stitch, whoops, front loop single, start again, front loop single, front post half double, and then 3 front post doubles, skip the next stitch, front loop single in the next stitch. Okay, so that's your 5 ruffle stitches made in there. Okay, then we're going to skip the next stitch, which is that first single crochet, and we're going to back post single crochet around the next 9 stitches. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, which brings us to match that first standing stitch that we made. Okay, so there's a single crochet left, one that we skip at each end of that section, and then we've got 5 ruffle stitches here. Okay, so go ahead and repeat that 5 more times, and then you're going to join to that standing back post single, fasten off and secure your ends. Round 14, we're going to join with a standing half double crochet in the last back post single of any repeat. Okay, so there's our last back post single there. So we want a half double crochet in there. Okay, so the last back post single of any repeat. Now, working behind the ruffle stitches, if you remember, let me just pull that up and out the way. Okay, so you've got a front loop single crochet in the top of that stitch, then you've got a skipped stitch, then you've got another front loop single. Okay, so you will always have 2 front loop singles together and 1 skipped stitch in between. So with the repeat we're going to do now, where it says double crochet, that's to go in there into the skipped stitch, and then where it says back loop, that's to go in behind the front loop single crochets. Okay, just so that you keep yourself all on track. Let me find the right piece of yarn to pull on. There we go. Okay, so we're going to back loop double crochet in the next stitch of round 12. Now when I do back loop stitches, I always go through the back loop and the third loop just to make the stitch a little bit more stable and to stop it stretching that loop up. Okay, then we're going to double crochet in that next stitch, and then we're going to back loop double crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so again you can quite easily see where that 3rd loop is on those stitches. So there's the next one. Okay, and we're going to do that little repeat, double crochet in the skipped stitch and then back loop double crochet in those next 2 stitches. So repeat that 4 times. Okay, so we've done that little mini repeat of double crochet in the next stitch, back loop double crochet in the next 2 4 times. We're then going to double crochet in the next stitch, which again is that skipped one behind the ruffle, and then we're going to make a back loop double crochet behind that last front loop single crochet. Right, now we need to skip that front loop single, and we're going to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So that's the back post singles that we made. So 3 half double crochets and then single crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, half double in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then that next stitch is the front loop single from this first ruffle, so we're not going to work into that. So those 3 half double, 3 single, 3 half double, they go into the 9 back post singles that we did. Okay, so you're going to repeat that around 6 times in total, so 5 more times. And if you work into the 3rd loop where you've got the back loop stitches, if you work into the 3rd loop as well, it stops anything from pulling up and becoming all stretchy and baggy. Okay, so go ahead and finish all of that off, and then join to your standing half double crochet with a slip stitch, because we're using the same colour in round 15. On to round 15 now. So we've joined with a slip stitch. We're going to chain 1 and single crochet in that first stitch, which is our half double crochet at the end of the repeat there. We're now going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. Okay, so that's the first 2 of the double crochets there. Half double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next 3. And you'll notice in the pattern now that you're working large points and small points. So at the moment we're working on the large point here. Okay, so that's our 3 double crochets done. We now need to make a treble in the next stitch. And then the next stitch, which is going to be the double crochet that sits in the skipped stitch behind that 3rd ruffle stitch, so it's actually your center stitch of the large point, we're going to treble, double treble, treble. Okay, so all into that same stitch, a treble and then a double treble. So that's 3 yarn overs before you start, and then through 2 loops, 3, 4 times. Okay, and then another treble. Okay, so there's 3 stitches all in that one stitch, creating a point here at the top of the large point. Okay, so then we're going to go back down the other side, so treble in the next stitch, double crochet in the next 3, that's 2 and 3, half double crochet in the next stitch, and then single crochet in the next 3. That's 1, 2 and 3, and that third single crochet will bring you into the first half double crochet from the previous round. Okay, now we're working on the small point, so we're going to half double crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, treble crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in the next 2 stitches, and half double crochet in the next one, and then single crochet in the next 3, which brings us back into our large point. Okay, so that's our repeat. On the large point we come up with a half double, 3 double, a treble, and then we've got a little point group here of treble, double treble, treble. Then we come back down the other side, treble, 3 double, 1 half double, 3 single into the small point, half double, 2 double, 1 treble, 2 double, half double, 3 single. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. You can easily follow the rest of the repeats from the pattern there. So all the way round and join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch, and I'll catch up with you there again. Round 16. You'll notice at the beginning of round 16 there's a hint which says place stitch marker in each chain 2 small point space and in each large point treble, and to move the markers up to the new point spaces or stitches as you work all the way through now until the end of part 1. Okay, so I will show you where to put the markers as we go. Okay, so to start round 16 we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet 3 together over this same stitch and the next 2. So it's these 3 single crochets that we're going to make that single crochet 3 together. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3. Okay, let me show that to you again in case you've not done one of these sort of stitches before. Normally when you work stitches together it's to decrease. In this case it's to bring our valley in tighter so that we get more defined points. Okay, so for a single crochet, all we normally do is hook through and pull up a loop. So when we're working stitches together, you just don't complete that stitch. Okay, so it's over 1, 2 and 3 stitches. Then you yarn over and pull through all of them. So that is a single crochet 3 together. Now we're going to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So that's our half double crochet and the first 2 doubles that we're working in there. So that's 3 half double crochets. And now we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. So that's into that double crochet and then into the 2 trebles. Okay, then our next stitch is that double treble that we made in the point, and in that stitch we are going to do 2 double crochet, treble, 2 double crochet. Okay, so there's 5 stitches going all into that one stitch. So there's 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, a treble, and then 2 double crochet. Okay, and that treble is where we need to put a stitch marker. Okay, so that is the point of our large point. So your stitch marker goes into the treble. Okay, so you've got 2 double crochet, treble, 2 double crochet, marker into the treble. Okay, then coming down the other side, we're going to double crochet in the next 3 stitches. And then we're going to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches. Okay, and that 3rd half double crochet will be made into the half double crochet from that previous round, and then we're going to single crochet 3 together over the next 3 stitches, which is these 3 single crochets. So again, just hook in, grab your yarn, pull up a loop in 1, 2 and 3 stitches. Yarn over, pull through all 4 loops. Okay, then coming into the small point, we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. Our next stitch then is the treble that we made in round 15. And in that treble we are going to single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. Okay, so single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and there goes another stitch marker into that chain 2 space. Okay, and now we're going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches, and again that last single crochet will bring you to the half double that you made. So your next 3 stitches are those 3 single crochets, and that is where you are again going to make a single crochet 3 together. Okay, and there's your repeat. So we've got a single crochet 3 together in between each of the points. So you could say it's sort of at the bottom on each side of the large point, or you could say it's the small point. Okay, but there's a single crochet 3 together in between each point. Our large point, we've got a treble in the middle of that group of 5 stitches that we've put our marker into, and in the small point we've got a chain 2 space that we've put our marker into there. Okay, so again, a fairly simple round, but do keep a check and a count on your stitches to make sure that you are working into the right stitches and that your points all line up beautifully in the right place. Okay, so carry on, do that 5 more times. Obviously you're going to skip that last single crochet 3 together. Join there, fasten off and secure your ends, and I'll see you for round 17. Round 17, we are going to join with a beginning bead stitch in the single crochet 3 together at the beginning of any small point. So here's our small point, here's the single crochet 3 together. So to make a beginning bead stitch, we are going to make a standing double crochet, and then it's a little bit like doing a sort of vertical or horizontal puff stitch. You're going to yarn over and go around the post of the stitch, pull up a loop, and then again yarn over, around the post of the stitch, pull up a loop, and for a third time yarn over, round, don't get your tail end caught in, and round. Okay, so you've got 7 loops on your hook there, yarn over and pull through all 7. Okay, and that yarn sort of as it comes through there, you're not going to chain 1 or anything like that to secure it. You're going to leave it like that so it has quite a nice sort of square shape to it. Okay, okay, so then you're going to chain 1, but again leave that thread quite long, don't pull this tight. Okay, leave it so that your bead stitch has that nice square shape. You're going to skip the next stitch, and then in the next stitch you are going to make a puff stitch. Okay, so a puff stitch, yarn over, hook in, grab your yarn, pull it up, and you're going to pull all the way up to the same height as the adjacent stitch. So this bead stitch is a double crochet height, so that's the height that you're going to pull up to. Okay, and repeat that, yarn over into the same stitch, grab your yarn and pull it all the way up. Okay, do that for a third time and a fourth time. Okay, so you've now got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all of them, chain 1. Okay, with the puff stitch, the chain 1 is not counted, it's to close the puff stitch, it's not counted as a stitch. So the pattern then tells you to chain 1 skip the next stitch and make another puff stitch in that next stitch. So again, we're going to come all the way up to the height of a double crochet, yarn over, all the way up, yarn over, we're in all the way up, and it's basically yarn over and insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop 4 times all the way through, chain 1. Okay, so that chain 1 to close your puff stitch is not counted, and it's not the chain 1 that the pattern then asks you to make again in there. Okay, so we've done a chain 1, skip the next stitch and puff stitch in the next stitch twice. We're then going to chain 1 again, and we're now going to make a puff stitch into the chain 2 space. So exactly the same thing again, yarn over, into the chain 2 space, pull up your loop and pull it right up to the height of a double crochet, and that's once, 2, 3 and 4. Chain 1 to close. Chain 1, and we're now going to make a puff stitch in the next stitch, so it's in this first single crochet here. Now a lot of people seem to have problems with puff stitches, or they don't like them, or they can't keep the tension or whatever. So again, let me just go through it once more. You're going to yarn over, hook into the stitch or space, grab your yarn, pull up a loop and pull it up to the height of the stitch next door. Yarn over and put your finger on the back of the hook. That way that yarn's going nowhere. Grab your loop, pull it up. I tend to sort of slide everything to the back of the hook, and then I'll let the hook slide through. But by holding on to, and if you're a knife grip, you can still use your finger to hold on to this yarn when you go in and back up. But I do think a puff stitch is one of those stitches that's easier when you're a pencil grip. Okay, chain 1, skip the next stitch, puff stitch in the next stitch. And again. Okay, so we've done chain 2 space, chain 1, puff stitch in the next stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch twice. Okay, so we've done that. So we've now got 1 single crochet left here before the single crochet 3 together. And that's where we're actually going to start the repeat for the large point, okay, because it matches. We started here in that single crochet 3 together, and we're going to start here. So don't forget to do that extra chain 1 after your last puff stitch. We're going to skip that stitch, and then we're going to make a bead stitch into that single crochet 3 together. Okay, so a bead stitch again is a double crochet and then yarn over, round the post, pull up a loop, yarn over, round the post, pull up a loop, yarn over, round the post, pull up a loop. So with the puff stitch we do that sort of 4 times, with the bead stitch we only do it 3. Yarn over and pull through. Okay, but bead stitch, puff stitch, they're very much the same, just one goes up and one goes across. Okay, so chain 1, skip the next 2 stitches, 1, 2, bead stitch in the next stitch. So again, it's double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, 1, 2, 3 times, yarn over, pull through all of them, chain 1. We need to do that 3 times, so 1, 2, there's the next bead stitch, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so we've got 3 times, and those 2 stitches are skipped at the end of that repeat, and then in the point treble we are going to make a double crochet, then a bead stitch, so that means we need to make another double crochet and then go around that 1, 2 and 3 times, yarn over, pull up, and then double crochet. Okay, so your large point has a bead stitch as the point stitch, and your small point has a puff stitch as a point stitch. Okay, so now let's come down the other side. So after that double crochet we're going to chain 1, and we are going to skip the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to bead stitch in there, and we're going to do that 3 times. Okay, chain 1, skip those next 2, bead stitch in there, chain 1, skip those next 2, and as if by magic that last bead stitch falls in that single crochet 3 together at the bottom of the large point or the beginning of the small point, so it matches exactly with that one that we've already done over here. Let me just get my blue card so you can see the white yarn better. Okay, so we started off with that beginning bead stitch in the single crochet 3 together at the beginning of the small point. So the small point has puff stitches, 5 of them, and then the large point has 3 bead stitch, then a double crochet, bead stitch, double crochet, then 3 bead stitch. Okay, so carry on all the way round. 5 more repeats of that. Join to the beginning bead stitch, fasten off and secure your ends. However, with a bead stitch, it's actually a combination of 2 stitches. You've got your double crochet, which is the first 2 loops there, and then you've got the sort of sideways puff stitch that you've done. So there are 2 sets of top loops there. So when you join and make your invisible join, you're going to come into this second set of loops here, not into the chain one afterwards, okay? So you come into that second set of loops to join at the end. Okay, and I will see you for round 18. Round 18, there's a hint at the beginning that says to work all trebles in front of the chain one spaces. Okay, so we're going to join with a standing front post single crochet around the last puff stitch of any point, any small point. Okay, so here's our small point, that's our last puff stitch. So we go front post single around there. Okay, we're going to treble into the next skipped stitch in round 16, which is this one here. Okay, so come into the stitch and then bend round 17 back so that you can pull up your loop quite easily, like so, and make your treble. Okay. Now your bead stitch, as I said before, has got two stitches within one sort of thing. So the first two loops were the double crochet that you made, and the second two loops are the sort of horizontal puff stitch bit that makes up the bead. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out a weeny bit, otherwise I'll drop out. There we go. Okay. Okay, so our little repeat that we're going to do is the 2 single crochets into the bead stitch and then a treble in the second skipped stitch of round 16. Okay, so there's our first one, here's our second. So in there, bend that other round back so that you can easily work and so that you're not catching this in your work anywhere. Okay, and we need to do that 3 times. So there's the 2 singles and treble into the second skipped stitch. That's twice. And 2 singles in the bead stitch, treble into the second skipped stitch. That's 3 times. Okay, now we need to single crochet in that next double crochet, and then this is our point, so we're going to single crochet in the first stitch of the bead stitch, chain 2, and then single crochet in the second part of the bead stitch, and then that chain 2 space becomes our point space. Just get my yarn, and there we go. Okay, so then coming back down the other side, we're going to single crochet in that next double, and we're then going to treble into the first skipped stitch. Again, working in front, and then 2 single crochet in each part, or 1 in each part of the bead stitch. Okay, again 3 times. So treble in the first skipped stitch, oops, 2 singles into the bead stitch, and another treble, and 2 single into the bead stitch, and that's our 3 repeats. Okay, so coming up we go in the second skipped stitch, coming down we go in the first one. That way we've got complete symmetry there on the points. Okay, and we're now going to treble into the next skip stitch, which is this one just before that puff stitch. So again, that matches completely with the other side. Okay, moving into our small point, we're going to front post single around the puff stitch, 1 single crochet in the next chain 1 space. I'm just going to take that point marker out. Okay, so front post single around the next puff stitch, 2 single crochet in the next chain 1 space, and we're going to do that twice. Okay, and 1 and 2. Now this puff stitch is our center one, so that front post single becomes our point stitch. Okay, so we've done that twice, so front post single around the next puff stitch, single crochet in the next chain 1 space, and front post single around that last puff stitch. Okay, which brings us to the same point where we started here with that standing front post single crochet. Okay, so that's your repeat. So go ahead and do that 5 more times, and then when you come round to here, you're going to join to this standing front post single crochet with slip stitch. Round 19. We're going to chain 1 and then we're going to single crochet 3 together over the same stitch, which is this front post single, and the next 2 stitches, so that's that treble and the first single crochet. Okay, so into that one, into the treble, into the single, and pull together. Okay, now we start our repeat. So we're going to half double crochet in the next 10 stitches, and that should take us up to our point. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. This round's actually very simple. Okay, so in the chain 2 point space, we're going to do 2 half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet, 2, chain 2, and 2 half double crochet. So I'll pop my marker back into that chain 2 space, and then coming down the other side, we're literally going to copy this. So we're going to do 10 half double crochet. Okay, don't forget that very first stitch after the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, so that will leave us with a matching 3 stitches that we had here of the single crochet, the treble and the front post single, where we need to make another single crochet 3 together. Okay, so into the single, into the treble, into the front post single, and through all 4 loops. Okay, then working around the small point, we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again that brings us up to our point, which is the front post single we made around that third puff stitch, and we're going to make 3 single crochet in there. 1, 2, 3, and then the stitch marker needs to go into the second or center one, and then 4 single crochet coming down the other side. Sorry about that, Mr. J getting vocal. So we were on 4 single crochet coming down the other side. 2, 3 and 4. So then again that leaves us that last front post single, the treble, and the first single of the large point to make our single crochet 3 together, exactly the same as the one that we started with. Okay, so that's your repeat, nice and simple. Whiz round with that, and when you come round to the beginning here, you're going to join to this single crochet 3 together, fasten off and secure your ends. Round 20. Now there's a hint here that says to take care not to include the post of the first half double crochet which forms part of the single crochet 3 together in the back post double crochet stitches. Okay, so I will show you what that means in a moment. We're going to join with a standing single crochet 3 together over the last single crochet of any small point. Okay, so here is our single crochet 3 together, so this is our last single of the small point. So we're going to go in there, into the single crochet 3 together, and into the first half double of the large point, and through all 4 loops. Okay, so when you're now going to make the next 11 back post double crochet stitches, you're not going to work around the post of this half double because you've already got the single crochet 3 together in the top of that stitch. Okay, so we're coming into that second, or around that second half double to make our first back post double of 11. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 10 and 11. Okay, so we've got 11 back post double crochet, and that brings us up to our chain 2 point space, and in that point space we are going to make 2 half double crochet, chain 2, 2 half double crochet. We go chain 2 and 1, 2 half double crochet, and I'll put my marker back in there. Okay, and then to match this other side we're going to come down with 11 back post double crochets down the other side. 1, 2, if I can get round, 3, and whoops, 10 and 11. Okay, so then we're going to make another single crochet 3 together over the next 3 stitches. So that's our last half double, our single crochet 3 together, and then the first single crochet on that side. So half double, single 3 together, single, and there we go. That's the large point finished. And then on the small point we're going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and 4, and that brings us up to our point stitch, the center one. And again, the same as we did in the last round, we're going to make 3 single crochet in here. So pop your stitch marker back into the second or center single crochet there, and then 4 single crochet coming down the other side. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then another single crochet 3 together. So in that last single crochet, into the single 3 together, into the first half double. Okay, and there's your repeat. Again, another nice simple one, which is why this first section's quite big. There's quite a lot of simple repeats and simple stitches in this. Okay, so we've got 11 back post double crochet coming up to the point where we have 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, 11 back post doubles coming down the other side, a single crochet 3 together, 4 single crochet, 3 into the point, 4 single crochet, and another single crochet 3 together. Okay, so we're pulling together at the bottom of each point, and then the points are quite simple. Okay, so carry on and repeat that another 5 times, and then join to the beginning, single crochet 3 together, the standing single crochet 3 together, sorry, with a slip stitch, and I will catch up with you there. Round 21, we're going to begin by chaining 4, and that counts as a double crochet plus chain 1. Okay, so in the large point we're going to skip the next stitch, so this chain basically is made into that single crochet 3 together, because that was our starting stitch, that's where we've joined to. So we will skip the first back post double, and then we're going to double crochet in the next stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch. We're going to do that 6 times, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't count. Okay, so we've done that 6 times, so we're skipping that last stitch, and then in the chain 2 space we're going to make a double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, so just 1 double crochet, chain 2, and then 1 double crochet, and there's our point. Okay, so now we're going to come down, oops, that's it, I'm going to come down the other side now. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next stitch, so that's that very first one, and double crochet into the next one. So that first double crochet that you make goes into that second half double of the point. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Let's just double check that. Okay, so we do the chain 1, skip a stitch, then the double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, sorry, 7 times. So our last stitch is going to fall into our single crochet 3 together. So the two sides of our point match. Okay, so we've got a double crochet in each of those single crochet 3 togethers. Okay, moving into the small point, we're going to half double crochet in the next 5 stitches. Get that one out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, which brings us up to our point stitch, the center of those 3 single crochets, and we're going to make 3 half double crochet in that point stitch. 1, 2 and 3. So then it's marker back into the center one, the second one, and 5 half double crochet, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then to finish the repeat we're going to double crochet into that single crochet 3 together and chain 1. Okay, so that matches with that chain 4 excuse me, chain 4 that we made at the beginning, which counts as a double crochet and chain 1. Okay, so that's why you've got 6 going up and 7 coming down, because 1 is at the end of the repeat over here. Okay, so go ahead and do that for 5 more times, and when you come round to the end I will just catch up with you here to make sure that we're joining in the right place once we come round to the end. Okay, so the end of round 21 we've done the 5 half double crochets, and then the pattern tells us to omit the last double crochet and chain 1 because that is our chain 4 at the beginning. So we need to join to the 3rd chain. Okay, so that's our double crochet there, that's our chain 1, here's 1, 2, 3, 3rd chain. So make your invisible join by going under that 4th chain and then come back around through the back of your half double and down through that chain 3, and then we have our double crochet and our chain 1 space so that it matches all the way around. Okay, so on to round 22. we're going to join with a standing single crochet in the last half double of any small point. Okay, so here's a small point. That double is part of the large point, so here is our last half double, and we join in there with a standing single crochet. Okay, so on to the repeat for our large point. We're going to back post double crochet around that next stitch, and then we're going to half double crochet in the chain 1 space, and you're going to repeat that 7 times in total. Okay, so back post double around the stitch, half double in the chain 1 space. Whoops. Half double in there, back post double around there, half double in there. This is a very simple stitch, but it's ever so effective, and it is actually one of my favourite types of stitches. Okay, let's see how many times we've done that. We need to do 7 in total. So that's the back post and the half double is one little mini repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go, we've done that 7 times. And then we're going to back post double around that last stitch before the point space. In the chain 2 point space, we are going to do 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 half double crochets. There we go, let's pop the marker back into the point. And then we're going to do exactly the same coming down the other side. Okay, let me just zoom in a weeny bit so that you can see the texture that you get. Okay, so your back post is wrapping around there, and then your half double in there, so you just get that nice texture. Oops, wrong way, sorry. Let's go a bit further out. There we go. Okay, so coming round the other side, we're going to back post double around the next stitch, and then half double into the chain 1 space. Okay, and again we're going to do that 7 times, which is going to take us down to the bottom of this large point. Okay, let's see how many we've done so far. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, and that's the last little repeat, 7. Okay, and then we're going to back post double around that last double crochet. Okay, so that's our large point done. Okay, then moving into the small point, you're going to single crochet into the next stitch, and you're then going to make a long single crochet in the next stitch of round 20. Okay, so we're on 22 here, this is 21, and these single crochets down at the bottom, that's round 20. So here's our next stitch, and we're going to come all the way down. So we've already got that half double crochet in there, so we're working over that. We're going to go down, grab the yarn from behind, pull it up, and pull it up to the height. Oops. Just pull that a little bit tighter. That's it. Pull it up to the height of this single crochet, and then yarn over and pull through. Okay, so you've just got that longer base to your stitch than here. Okay, and we've worked over that half double crochet. I'm going to do that 3 times. Okay, so single crochet in the next stitch, and then here's our next one. We're going to do a long single crochet in there, so pull up to the height of the row we're working, single crochet in the next stitch, and the last long single crochet is going to come into that point stitch from round 20. Pull up and over. Okay, so you've got single, long single, single, long single, single, long single. In the point stitch, which is the next stitch, we're going to make 3 single crochet, and then pop your stitch marker back into the middle second one. Okay, and now we're going to reverse that. So we're going to make a long single crochet over this stitch, which again is going to come into the point from round 20. So up and through, single crochet in the next stitch, long single over the next one, single in the next one, long single over that next one, and then we're going to single in the last one. Okay, so it gives us a mirror image on each side of that. Let me zoom in so that you can see that more closely. Okay, so we've got single, long single, single, long single, single, long single, 3 singles in the point stitch, and then we've come long single, long single, long single. Okay, oops, wrong way, sorry. Okay, so that's our repeat around the large point and then around the smaller point. Repeat that 5 more times, and then you're going to join to your standing single crochet here, fasten off and secure your ends.